On our fourth day of hiking the Camino, we hiked from Pamplona to Puente la Reina. And let me tell you, it is a stunning hike through farmlands most of the way, and we loved every second of it. It's 22 kilometers, and it took us 32,000 steps. It's another big day, but it's not as hilly as the previous days, and a very gentle climb for the first half of it. After that, that's when you hit a hill. It's kind of steep, but it's not as big as anything you've experienced so far. And once you get to the top, that is when you see the famous sculpture of the silhouettes of pilgrims making their way across. And it is a beautiful sculpture and a great place to take some pictures. After that, there's a couple kilometers or maybe a kilometer or so that are pretty rough of downhill. It's fairly steep and it's been covered with round river rocks, so it's pretty unstable under your feet, so be careful when you're going down that hill. Poles might be a good decision for you on that day. Let's see, we stayed at the albergue Puente, and for us it was 46 euros a night for a double room with a shared bathroom. It's clean, it's nice, it's friendly. They have lots of facilities. They have a laundry room, they have terrace where you can just sit out. There's a good, well-stocked kitchen. We really enjoyed our experience there. For food, we had groceries for breakfast, so nice and cheap. And we did the same for dinner once we got into Puente la Reina. For lunch, though, we stopped in a town, and I'm going to mess this up, called Zariquique. Hopefully Rob will put the spelling down on the screen here to help you out. There we bought 2 sandwiches, and they were $9.50 for both of them, and they were delicious, and they were enough to get us all the way the rest of the hike. I think we would like to make a shout out today to some people we met on our first day of hiking and have run into them a few more times since. They've talked to us quite a bit about birds because they noticed our binoculars, and that is Martin and Gail, and we hope they are doing great on their journey.
Good morning. We are having a beautiful start to our day. Sometimes it's hard with the sun because we're always walking directly away from the sunrise, which is good for our eyes, very bad for the camera, which does not like having the sun right behind my head. So we've got some clouds. I'm going to be able to do this, I think. But I just wanted to talk, we've got some potholes. I wanted to talk today about how easy it is to meet people and talk to people. I have talked to people who have some anxiety about that. We had a really fun conversation in one of the albergues a day or two ago with an American girl, and she was like, I am such a planner and I'm quiet and an introvert, and I really wasn't sure if I was, how easy it was going to be for me to just sit down and talk to people. And she's like, it's easy. And I was like, yes, it very much is. And here's why, because this is something I've learned as a long-term traveler too, is like when you're at home and you're trying to, meet people or make friends or just talk to strangers, like they're strangers. You don't know anything about them and what you might or might not have in common. And it can be a little overwhelming because believe me, I'm an introvert. I'm kind of an extroverted introvert. I do like people, but I recharge at home. I like having my private space. And when you're out here on the road, definitely it's easier to meet people in albergues just because there's more people around and people who are willing to talk than if you're, in a hotel room all by yourself. But if you put yourself out there, here's the thing is that we all have the same thing in common. Everybody out here, or at least staying in the albergues and kind of thing, are walking the Camino. And that is a huge point of interest that everyone wants to talk about. Everybody wants to meet everybody else. They want to hear your story. They want to tell you their story, why they're here, what they're doing, how far they're walking, how long it's been, how their feet feel. All of those kind of topics is just right at the top of everybody's head. And if you sit down in a room or at a table with other people, they are going to include you. It is very, very easy. So I just kind of wanted to say that if you're like nervous about coming out by yourself, there are a lot of solo travelers. We see packs of them. of the solo travelers who meet other solo travelers, then they might walk together for a day or 3 or whatever. Everybody wants that connection. And if you're worried about it, I'm just letting you know, like, everybody out here is going to be the same as you, and they might have a different story, and they might come from a different country, and they might have a different mother language. So the nice thing about English is that English, once you account for people who speak English as a second or third or fourth language, English is the most spoken language in the world. And you can really get by. Yes, there are people out here who speak French and Italian and German and everything else. And actually Spanish. We've met quite a few Spanish people from Spain who are walking the Camino. And so you might not be able to have an in-depth conversation with everyone, but we haven't had any issues meeting people and getting to know people and just having those little mini interactions with people, you know, sitting around a table in an albergue or on the side of the road on the way. It's really nice, and it's really affirming, and it's going to completely enrich your experience. So if you're thinking about walking alone as a solo pilgrim, you're going to be fine. There are a lot of people. You're going to have a great time. If you're enjoying these videos, we do make one every day of the walk. So make sure to click on the link here at the end of the video to take you to the playlist so you can watch them all, because there's lots of fun stuff to talk about. Make sure you don't miss out. Buen Camino.
Today and not tomorrow.